as we close on out our day, we can conclude with the beautiful journey of 5D Collective, and they are all empowered feminines, whether they have their own empowered masculine journey to share with us at one point, shape, or form. And if you didn't tune into any of the previous episodes, you might want to do that. But the 5D Collective, those who are Christ consciousness, oneness consciousness, love consciousness, they are all people with an integrated brain and or desiring to be there because they have a higher self. So they do know when their empowered feminine is in town, they're in a ventral vagal state. And when they are not, no, they consistently will navigate their emotional, mental, and physical plane to bring forth the best version of themselves. Versus what we get to deal with people like my facade friend. So insecure human beings are all people who could use Patrick Tahan or Terriel to learn to love themselves first, but they don't want it, and we are not going to make anyone have to get mental health, because really there's so many Pinocchios out there on islands, and they will be making fun of us, and we won't be, no, we'll make fun of them too, just differently than they will, because when you're empowered, you don't actually point in a way of dismantling. Because see, there's a difference when you laugh at someone because you're ridiculing them like an insecure person, versus laughing at them in a way of, I'm not laughing at you to make it seem, I don't ridicule you, I'm finding it humorous. And the only ones who don't know the difference are the same ones who are not empowered in a way of knowing that we all can be kind and unkind, but that the low self-esteem stuff, that unkind business, comes from a sense of insecurity that involves child parts that can still come up with charges. And once instead you know that those charges are nothing more than the 0-1 attached panicky, 3-7 shame submissive, the freeze of all ages, the 11-12 flight, and the 14-15-16 fight, you're not like, oh my god, that's my child part. That's not how you work with it. So you don't have exiles, you don't have protectors, you don't need the IFS model, you don't need you don't need any of it. You use your human name. So I don't say Maria's 1-year-old needs a hug, like Dr. Daniel Siegel taught me in my lovely course, Consciousness and Change. And that's why I learned, that's why I don't feel like I've ever changed, because my self is whole. She's not lost in any way, shape, or form. Maria. Okay, so when you're a whole self, you're a verb. Like love, Eric Fromm introduced me to love. I already felt love that way. It's a consistent, expanding you. And that's why you maintain the pure soul. Everyone can be pure consciousness, because pure consciousness, pure soul, like Bessel van der Kolk says, it is a part of everyone, but then it's tainted with that which is trauma charges. And that's Pat Ogden, a bunch of people. So when I see people who have I know that there's some shit going on, and they haven't learned that it's okay. It's okay when you're smiling, and when you're crying, and when you're mad, and when you're disgusted, and when you're surprised, and when you're happy, and when you're afraid. It's all in the same tune that I'm just singing now, because that's what an empowered feminine is to ourselves. It's okay, and it's not a maiden in distress, which then becomes a crone, which then becomes it. Okay, so when I see the crones in the way of the negative connotation, the lower toroidal field, I know that they were maidens in distress who were codependent in a way of being helpless and hopeless, and therefore the territorial boundaries is what I'm going to bring. Because I'm in the healthy, I know Maria can be considered crooked, a crone. And no, not a maiden in distress, but if they try treating me like one, then I'll become a crone. If on the other hand, I'm a maiden who is compassionate, then sometimes it'll be from those who are ignorant, seeming like I feel pity, or I'm doing something out of softness in a way of being weak, meaning that I don't know what I'm doing. So to me, we're all weak and strong. I'm weak with strength. I'm not weak with the mind. When people think that compassion means you're weak, they don't know what discernment, equanimity, and love mean. I know that is what God is, because there's no scary monster in the sky. I'm a mystic. I'm a mentor, content creator, podcast host. I'm a mystic. There's going to be empirical mysticism that explains to you what the sphere of consciousness is, but science has always talks about it as a mathematical equation. Human condition is what they call human dilemma. The consciousness sphere, intelligence, it's pretty straightforward. Again, unconditional love means I have flaws and imperfections, but I come with integrity, not that I will be unbridled self-expression in front of you and act like a crone or maiden in distress, or think that empowered feminine needs me to say I'm the suppressed woman. Feminine, by the way, doesn't mean you're a woman. Just FYI, we have our yin yang, okay? So the balance of duality, that's where neutrality and duality. Empowered feminine is any person who owns their body and can know that we don't contradict ourselves when we say science and spirituality come together. We bring it together, and adaptive child part people don't know how to shut the fuck up. So when you have inconsistent communicators, they are pretty much Cusco, because they're just playing with words without actively having the substance behind it, meaning the essence of them. It's not for the entirety of the herd that they're talking about the topic that they've decided upon. There's a charge, and Braveheart will come out of the woodwork, and therefore they don't have a balanced yin yang. As an empowered feminine, there's many of those who talk about the feminine, so I will get to that in a minute. They say that it is the feminine who connects the masculine to source. I say not really, because I learned about God, Jesus, and Holy Spirit. Also, I didn't learn from my catechist that men would be beating me or doing any of that, which I do see ignorant ones who apparently read the Bible in a way of basically making it sound okay that we have still toxic masculinity. It has nothing to do with religion or faith. It has everything to do with the medieval times and actual trauma that those who are men and women in ignorant neighborhoods, particularly, who have priests and pastors and people of churches that actively have sermons go on where they say it is the man that will be responsible for every single thing, so he has the right to do whatever he wants, and the woman is the one who needs to take care and nurture. And these are not just gender stereotypes, they are actively part of our history, which don't make our future, because as you evolve, what you do know, thank you Dr. Janice again, is consciousness and change is a part of a human being who has healthy self-worth thanks to my prefrontal cortex. I have been determined because I have a whole self, yes. And when I see those who have been determined with the frequency of fear and know that their shaman looks very, and shamans interestingly interesting, I will allow you all to know I'm choosing to plead the Fifth Amendment right now because of Maria deciding so. So here's where Cherokee proverb says, a woman's highest calling is to lead a man to his soul so as to unite him with source. That is quite disrespectful towards another human being who has free will. And that's because, again, I come with God, Jesus, Holy Spirit, who I know said, I made you the way I want you to be made. No two trees are alike. This is yours and yours alone. Grow and stand tall amongst the stars. But also I'm a twin. So Robert Sapolsky, with his book Determined Science, shares with me how the embodied brain and my brain is composed. And I do know what motivates Maria, as I know my subcortical areas, because I have introception. So I don't have a story for you with mysticism. I'm a mystic, and then I know of empirical mysticism making its way to us, as well as science is looking into the sphere of consciousness, the Planck field, I don't do the let's do conspiracies and somebody's going to take away our humanity. They actively can't, and when you are overflowing in humanity, divinity has to descend, but it isn't divinity in the sense of I am a divine, and I'm a god. That immediately my ego's like, okay, no, we're a piece of energy. That means a small little speck of it. It's a very different equation. So please allow oneself to keep within that realm of health. I'm a piece of the energy that you are a piece of, which is why I am not needed for you to actively connect to source. What I know Jesus taught me is you and Holy Spirit and God need to want to open up your heart to the divine. And if you're doing it with the amygdala, well, Pinocchio, have fun on your island, because I noticed the divine masculine, divine counterpart feminine. Yes, so yes, there is divine counterparts. And when I thought of it with the capacity to know when you're a higher self, you have access to that, which can be, again, with very carefully, the let's not use it. You're expanding piece of consciousness because you know how to use your brain. Let's make it humanly accessible, because see, the people who are using those cloaks, mystics, spiritual bypassers, don't know that the woman and the man have both energetic frequencies. And if only men and women who are ignorant would learn about when they do ill, that means we got something we can work with. It's called an implicit or explicit bias. Okay, so The greatest gift you can give another human being is to accept, respect, and love them. The most precious thing is life itself. Will you realize it now or on your deathbed? Thank you, Sadhguru. When your perception transcends the limitations of your five senses, you're spiritual. And love is freedom and joy. Attachment is bondage and misery. And also for most people, love means you must do what I want you to do. No, love means you do what you want and I will still love you. Doesn't mean you go breaking laws. No, you physically will always look to keep our herd safe. Emotional, mental, mature people know that a lowest calling of the woman, the feminine, is to seduce, separating the man from the soul and leaving them aimlessly to wander. When you understand that the empowered feminine is your body and that the mind with the stupid masculine left alone is a maladaptive pattern and adaptive child part, you'll understand that people essentially, as they become adolescents, begin to live their second alloparenting group based on their foundation. If your 08 didn't get a good codependent year where you were taught balance and how to be your own yin-yang, so use your brain well, use your mind well, use your hands. If you didn't get taught what good manners are, and that means you didn't keep your higher self, okay? So everybody has a different journey, which is why no two trees are alike. You are your own tree of life. And as this rabbi also uses gender stereotypes, he says, hard to commit for men. Yes, people who are cut off from Purusha Prakriti don't know how to use their brain. They have monkey brain, which means that they're ruminating on a go. They have dull brain, which means they're, and they do a lot of things to stay dull. Butterfly, it's like a little squirrel. Then we have the enamored with themselves, fancy lady and man in suit, definitely love themselves to the best of themselves. It's amazing to see as they get followed and adored by their followers and their subjects. Then we have the one focus, which we need essentially because they're completely a resemblance of that which they have been studying and researching, and without them we would really be missing out. So all pieces of the puzzle of God's creations are essentially needed. Nobody's going to break God because that's exactly what, again, people of faith know God always wins. That's how intelligence works. And any enlightened one will tell you. So we don't do gender stereotypes, which is why, though, when you understand that the feminine, he says, the woman nurtures all. Painful to start something new. No, not empowered women and not empowered men. They don't have a hard time committing. So the mind of a person that is empowered is a brain that is integrated. So I don't have the monkey, dull, butterfly, one enamored, or one focused. No. I have what is a higher self with an integrated brain with a restorative embodied, so I can bring all of it together and know I'm not confusing shit. There's no contradictions because my left and my right work together with a default mode network that is downregulated. When you hear people talking about like, wow, you just think, I do it all the time. It's called the flow state. There's neuroscientists who let you know it's not supernatural, but also believe me, it's not done by yourself because you actively can't have anger, sadness, surprise, disgust, any emotion without any other people. Also, you don't know how to self-regulate without other bodies around you because your body actively needs other mammals. So if you're not connected, you're not living life for real. You're just protected, pretending, and that's why all by myself, when women do this thing of maiden in distress, she learned it to Johnny and did it at one of the last ones, this fancy woman in a suit who wedding bells, thought of wedding bells after fucking every man. I don't know. I just thought, you're not. No, that's a misconception. According to gender stereotypes, you're now a whore, trash. I don't know. Like, did anybody let you know that it's not ruined us, the sex revolution? Men and women apparently don't know how to get securely attached and keep gender stereotypes alive in the year 2025 through shitty ass dramatic movies, which when I watch any of them, I'm like, okay, no, I don't like any of these because I see it happening out there, and Tom and Jerry aren't fun to watch because actively they think that they are mystics. They are, though, but they don't know what it is to be a actual empowered anything yet because they didn't go to Patrick Tian to get their self online. Their pause self is all over this shit with their unhealthy self-soothing mechanisms and their low self-esteem relationships. So then they say, yes, I'm the feminine without me. And I was like, okay, you are now, again, not really what, but let me share what the man does in the masculine. So for the body, yes, if you don't learn how to work with your somatic sensory motor, EMDR, child parts work, meaning be senses, images, affects, behaviors, meanings, contain them, use your prefrontal, have integration and awareness. You don't go chaos or rigidity, and therefore you can do compassion and kind intention. Now we got a person in the room. Awesome. Self-aware, accountable, regulating. And that's an empowered man or woman, by the way, which doesn't do gender stereotypes. They're not idiots. They actively know what academics do behind the scenes and what societal culture is. It consistently expands. So we are meeting every day more that which is healthy self-worth people because we got a group of them. That's the 5D collective. And then we got a group who's in the fear frequency. Again, the shamans of fear continue with the lower total field to present us the opportunity to choose kindness over the unkind business of trauma and projection, if you tune into the other episodes. So personality patterns, we, mindfully living, loving, mystic, spiritual, and people are this. I'm Maria. Nice to meet you. I won't get it perfect. Comedians don't. You can only imagine. I fuck up words all the time. I don't even use the dictionary. And my empowered masculine is the only one. He's one of the primary ones that is able to help me see things. And then I say, I'm not going to remember. I mean, I'll try, but you might need to remind me of this. And empowered feminine, they do the same things. So yes, we always add to each other, but the empowered ones particularly, because they actively make us smarter. This is very valuable to me because I've noticed when I've been made dumber. No, but when I've been stifled, I need to find the word for it. But yes, don't hang out with those who, excuse me, I don't hang out with them, but I was talking to somebody and they hang out with them. You're confusing science and spirituality. I come to find out a year later that I don't confuse shit. There's actively empirical mysticism. There's actively sciences looking into all of this. And I'm going to keep that in mind because I don't always have academics around me. So I need to do my best for Maria to keep it in mind. And the next time I'll see the excuse me, I'll say, they have a master's degree in what I do. Just FYI, in case you're curious. Oh, not because I want to prove it, but because they're a mystic too. So I think they might want to expand. And I might just want to, no, I don't think I'll do it. I don't know, maybe. We'll find out. If I see them, I'll update you. But the point is, I don't want to be dumbed down. So when you do know that you are from the future, and then you kind of do say, you know what? I'm pretty sure gender stereotypes like Greece, yeah, what the fuck? Ew. Excuse me, did they just do that as I'm watching this show? No. I must be in a room full of people. Don't you know that that's not how love works? Hey, Eric, I have a tail and this is my voice. And if you find me annoying, well, I'm going to be the most beautiful thing on this earth, because don't you know the Neapolitan saying, even a cockroach is beautiful to their mother. So I'm unconditionally loved, which is why it's easy for me to be Maria. That's it. That's why an empowered woman will say, yep, if a man don't like me the way I am, oh, wow, really? Did you say change? I thought I told you I was. This is as I'm getting broken up with after 4 years. I'm like, okay. So when you are your whole self, this is the part of where authentically you say, I don't understand why you didn't understand me, that I expand. So again, empowered men don't ask their empowered women to change, and vice versa. And when we hear people say, you do change, okay, we get it. We get to support each other to become the best version. It's not change if you're a higher self, because you actively already are in the best version. Now that you're using your brain, it's a bilateral, vertical, overall integrated one, and you actively know how to calibrate your own nervous system. And 14-month-old, wow, I have a mental, emotional, physical master of themselves. Now I have a human being, not a pause self. So there you go. And as a teen, I was already there. I was just as much a teenager as anybody else, but I took the thing of, I take integrity very seriously. After learning, I learned my mistakes, and they're not mistakes. Actively, I'm committed. So there is no such thing as failure. Nope, just lessons to be learned. Thank you, Sadhguru. That's what an empowered feminine who's not a damsel in distress can tell you. And that's why when I think of the crone, sure, I'll be a crone. I will not be the maiden, because the maiden makes me think of all those maidens in distress. But I do know that I could be seen as that. And I also could be seen as the mother. Now, if I'm empowered, and that's what I am, so if I'm an empowered masculine, they won't make me out to be their mother or the crone or the maiden. They're actively going to know that I'm a person, and that's exactly what healthy relationships are made of. It's called We Are Each Other's Differentiated. No, we come together and meet each other and stuff like that. Okay, so empowered men. Here's where man's highest calling is to protect a woman so she is free to walk the earth unharmed. I mean, really, the sky could fall. It's not the man's fault. That's a really big responsibility for them to catch that asteroid. But we do have scientists that are doing their best to try and make sure we can save ourselves. And some people don't like technology. So, I mean, really, the 4D and 3D have a lot of stories to tell us. In the meantime, man's lowest calling, masculine the mind, chit-chatter, is to ambush and force their way into the life of a woman. I'm a piece of shit. Let me go drink and fuck and do drugs. It's not Lucifer, you see. It's actively what Dr. Daniel Fox calls, and he got it from somebody else, family in the head. Or it's, just you shitting on yourself. It's all of that which is healable. But again, fancy lady in a suit says she's going to dismantle modern day therapists and tell you why they're trying to imprison you. And also she's going to tell you why it's not inherently healthy or enlightenment to be non-reactive. So it's dangerous to have no emotions. Actively, she doesn't know that you can't physically have no emotions, which is what made me laugh. Because if you're going to dismantle an entire keep of 30 plus 50 plus, I don't even know how many years of research and analysis and people were coming together. I mean, really, you're one person. Wow. Enamored with yourself. And that maiden definitely was in distress because by the time she gets to her one video on, and she does this and this and this, I'm like, oh, look, Flintstones, we're the Flintstones, yabba, 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 do. And so it makes sense. The wedding bells after fucking. Oh, she also likes to talk to you about how to get off of dating apps. So do a lot of other women and men. And I'm like, wow, they seem to be thinking about how all of these things have something to do with bad, wait a minute, what is it? Oh yes, hold on. Hard to commit men, women nurture all, painful to start something new. I'm thinking trends and stereotypes are still that which TV shows show. So to close it all up, here's what a empowered woman can tell you, even as a teenager. Thank you, God, Jesus, Holy Spirit, my mother, my twin. You can thank my body. But basically, I had this boy I was flirting with. I had a good time as a kid. I'm flirting, and apparently I don't know how to flirt, but in this case, I liked him, and that's why for me, I was, but obviously this is where, as I got older, I'm like, I don't do the flirting thing. If I like you, I'm going to tell you, and luckily, again, I'm a straight shooter. I can take it and I can dish it. And that's because I'm not a maiden in distress. Not at all. I understand rejection. I was 4 when boys said, nope, we're going to take your sister for a ride. You want to sit us down and read and we don't want to read. And it's okay. No, I went home crying. So I'm flirting and the guy's just saying that we're not going to be an item because I'm short. And I'm like, okay, no, I'm not. But one of these days I come in with my nice new little shoes, high platforms. I really like them. Did I get them for him? Not really, but did I think that, well, it makes me, it makes me taller. Maybe. So half and half, right? But as I'm walking in, the minute he sees me with my shoes, which I'm really excited about, I love shoes. I do. I love shoes for a lot of, I don't know why, actually, I just love shoes. But anyways, side note, now you know more about Maria. As soon as I walk in, and I have an explicit memory because he's sitting in his usual corner, I even know his name. I won't tell you his name. He looks and says, don't you think with those shoes we're going to be together? And as soon as he says that, I'm like, that's channeling right now. That's not love. That's an asshole. And I don't think I did the cursing. I just said, that's not love. Because anybody who loves me isn't going to do that. I'm excited. I have shoes. They're new. They're fun. Sure. And I went back to having fun because why? Who cares? Meaning, I'm still having a fun time as I exchange, flirt, whatever you want to call it. And there you go. And people who actively come to me and tell me things that I find ridiculous make me think of my teenage friends who didn't have sex ed, and I did, luckily for me. So I was smart enough to know what STDs were, how you get pregnant, how you don't, and the ones who didn't know, I was like, what year do you come from? No, I just know they came from ignorant families, and I now know there's still plenty of them, because when somebody says polyamory, well, you're all masochists. No, we're not. Actually, not the healthy self-worth ones. That's hard. You did tell me that you let your parents decide what job you would do. You're happy in life, right? There you go. Because when somebody makes it very obvious that they just spoke, I have no self-esteem, you think, wow, okay, you know what, I need to, so that's the creative brain of an empowered feminine. I'm not connecting you to source or spirit yet. You ain't even connected to your higher self. And so when I see a pattern of a karma wheel, it ain't my business, because God tells me don't judge human suffering because it's a waste of my time, but it's not, because they're brothers and sisters, so their low frequency of fear is their choice. No, it's not, as Robert Sapolsky with Determined points out. And as Patrick Tan points out, they all can get healed. So I'm rooting for Patrick Tan to become the most popular on YouTube so that he can grow his community and grow people that will get out of the unkind business from their childhood trauma and then become the kind version in time of their true self. Terry Real, I also root for because he makes empowered couples, men and women, completely. Mwah. Dr. Daniel Fox supports all personality disorders, borderline personality, narcissism included, and more than just that. And he's awesome sauce for anybody who wants to get out of maladaptive patterns of behavior. Seriously. Dr. Daniel Siegel, interpersonal neurobiology, you name it. Dr. Dan, you're amazing. And so is Bezel Vanderkolk, Peter Levine, Stephen Porges, Janina Fisher, you name it. Ruth Lanius, Bethany Lanius, I forget all their names. And the point is, empowered feminine here. A woman knows that what an empowered masculine is. Women, men don't matter. Your mind is where that masculine is to me. And when you are not an empowered mind, that's why he ambushes you. And therefore, your self-loathing, gut-wrench, torn apart shit, it keeps coming up. And your body's going to protect you. And at some point, the dark sides of neuroplasticity will shut you in, and your body doesn't want you to suffer, and it'll just stagnate within you. So that's how I'm going to share with you all, where I can bring in human, spiritual, and spirituality elements. And it's always going to be about you being yourself, not me. I'm Maria. You're you. And you do have a self, but when it's whole, that's when you'll know and own it. And so you won't change you. You'll expand you because you have flexible, adaptive, coherent, energized, stable ways of handling your own personality patterns. And that's because, again, you do not know is the doorway, the only doorway to seeking and knowing. And that's also because when things go wrong in life, this is when I get to see who you are. And then I also get to see if you know what a leader is, and if you know how to move beyond right and wrong, liking and disliking. And so that you know how to work with your personality filter, because it's not who you are, but it is what comes through with your temperament, with that one nervous system body that you are. And I know how to work with my ventral vagal state, which is why our masterclass, once we have our number of signups, that's the first of the modules, is how do you walk through all of those nervous systems so that you can continue to work to be in your ventral vagal state. Self-help, personal development, spiritual growth. It's for once you own yourself. So empowered feminines, empowered masculines, women, man, don't matter. We are rooting for human beings as we evolve, and we know that it's the response to trauma that is more important than the trauma itself, Bezel Vanderkolk, and that some people want to leave their trauma to continue working with kinky things, all of that, which people will blame Lucifer or the sex revolution age or polyamory. So when people are blaming a group, you know that that means they have a preference. No, when anybody's doing that, you know they don't understand what secure, attachment, non-traumatized human being who uses a higher self is. I do, because I'm in it. And I know of them. And so you don't get offended. You don't be like it's one group, it's two groups, but I have humanities and social sciences in my back pocket, because that's what I do. Political science, my major, as I've told you before. And as an 8-year-old, I said I'm going to help people. And that's why I did the inner growth mindset, the first part of the book. And then the courses, yes, to help you be yourself. And now I know full on who's not going to, and it's okay. Love and fear work together as a pair, because I get to know with God, spirit, source, that you got free will. Science says you have none of it. That's some scientists. Other scientists chase each other down the hallways, and others say there's never been a medium ever. And that's why it's going to be fun to see empirical mysticism come into the room. And I love how they expand all of subject matters, because Shakespeare, thank goodness we don't have to read that anymore. And no, we're not becoming more ignorant. We just think that, time to move from the Flintstones to the Jeffersons or whatever they're called. And really, I didn't really think people would be so wow. No, as an online marketer, entrepreneur, I'm going to close on out with that one, because as I do content creation, podcast hosting, mentorship, you all know this. I love to be able to be here. I do. I love it. I love it. It brings people close. People are far from me can be close with me. And that is one of the things I love from the moment I set eyes on social media. And as I know of people who are afraid of everything, I just think, wow, you don't have faith in God or humanity, but that's okay because I understand how that works. Your faith in humanity was broken when you were a child. Mine wasn't, and nor was it with God. So I know Lucifer doesn't have anything to do with AI. You can't lose your humanity, a lot of things, and I am in the Enlightenment Soul Age group. So any enlightened one will tell you there's no fear because we know intelligence is intelligence. It's not a problem for the spiritual people. It's not a problem for the sciences either. When they use the problem, I think they're just talking about mathematical equations. So when you have integrated brain, you don't have fear of information or knowledge. You have what is called self-aware, accountable, regulating skills to the extent of knowing I like some things, I don't like other things. Here's what I carry with me. Here's bias, here's not. I don't need to be sensitive about it. And so the empowered masculines, feminines come together, whether they like it or not, because we are of the same frequency, but we will also be surrounded by those who are fearful and they won't like us or not like us. It all depends on how those conversations go. And at the end of the day, though, you choose if you want to be yourself in the frequency of love, open-heartedness, kind, with humility, integrity, and know that vanity is the actual frequency of a person who has low self-esteem. And so the word doesn't mean shit to me. It means shit, but I'm going to know the difference when I'm around you, and I won't be actually trying to analyze it because my gut is so good as an empowered feminine that I don't use my left mode to talk words about you in my head. Because I already saw what the teenagers did. That's exactly what is ruling any one of the people who doesn't become their grown-up version. And that's why I'm indifferent completely. My amygdala is alerted to no... I'm introducing enough to be saluted. I had no interest whatsoever in engaging in anything. They didn't irk me. They did not irk me. I don't want to be your friend. After 3 years, they do what they do. I have a fun story to tell you. So thanks to them, I have a fun story of an unhealthy self-worth human being who has a wife, thinks they're a poet. Oh, and there's other people like this human being who also actively engage in unhealthy patterns. It don't bother me because I'm not your mama, I ain't your papa, I ain't your therapist. I don't want to be. You don't need a therapist. No, you do. You just don't think you do. And I don't do self-help with those people because they don't want to do anything with anchoring ventral energy. You want me to feel one emotion? Not really, but again. So I'm just saying it's very clear why we're protected. We're not protected in the way of, oh my God, there's a monster outside that's going to come get me. In the energy sphere of me, no. In the energy sphere, I can perceive. You know what you learn from smart people? I remember Tara Brach and the summit that I got to watch, one of the first ones of somatic empaths and somatics therapists and all that. And as her, Peter Levine, I think Bessel van der Kolk was there, or Stephen Porges. But Tara Brach, she opens it up. And she informs me of this thing that I had already perceived as a person who's ascending, as a mystic, again, spiritual, and knowing about us perceiving each other, light workers, rainbow body. So she's spelling out how we will pick up on each other's frequency. And I'm like, yep, that makes a lot of sense. And what I learned to to become aware of in time was 4D completely off. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about. They just keep saying everybody's going to ascend. Nobody's ascending. I'm seeing these people. They're continuing to be in their suffering button, and I'm not, but they seem to think they're headed places or not. Shadow, light, dark body, dark not body. It's like, okay, are you done? Are you done with this dark night of the soul shit? I don't see you going through dark night of the soul. I just see you using words from your mouth and not really going anywhere with your Elsa. So when you use words like that, it's because you don't care about your humanity, and that's why they didn't expand. And by the third roundabout, I'm noticing something about those who are the leaders. And now I know where 4D and 3D is at. So long story short, though, empowered feminines, empowered masculines are people who expand. They don't lock themselves up in their trauma. And those who don't want to do any work, they just don't. They won't take it seriously. And there's a group for everybody. So we don't need to be creating better or worse groups, because fear and love, again, and this is just chit chat. So we also don't have their bodies. What makes me sad is the fact that I know what's happening in those bodies. I don't think of it as pity. That's actually very offensive to those who have consistently the capability, if they want to consciously choose to go to Terrio, Patrick Tian, or Pat Ogden, or Bessel van der Kolk. Also, again, with all humility and integrity, a person of faith and spirit will know exactly intelligence and God. You're a speck of it. You don't embody it. Don't make yourself bigger to be. You're not empowered in the way of the stories that you will read. And also, you will completely be displaced. So when people get into what is pseudo-aliveness on a screen. But long story short, sciences has consistently humbled me and made me feel very sad for those who do choose fear, even though at a certain point you become aware and they tell you the body is headed towards healing. If they don't want it though, you can't make anybody go. And they're actively not self-sabotaging. They're just so scared because their first 3 years of life were that crappy, which is why it makes you sad if you're actually a human being who's assimilating information because you care, not because you believe in it or not. Anytime I hear believe, what believe in what? Excuse me. I don't even bother. There's only some people I would say, I don't really use the word believe. I get what you're saying. I don't believe. I learn. I hear. I study. I contemplate. I know where to find a biography. I don't use social media to learn. I have a good time on social media. I learn from academics who have done the research, who continue to do it. They don't dismantle their colleagues. Those are idiots who dismantle anyone. If you think you know everything, you're the cocky egos I met in college, which is why I'm like, yeah, I think I'd do better on my own because I know what I'm doing and why I'm here and who I'm for. And it's not for people who, good boy, good girl, I don't do. Let me show you your master. There's only one God again, and nobody gets on pedestals and books. Keep throwing them at us because we're really going to be like, oh, hey, I caught one. Oh, look, what history? Ooh, I like this. This is a new one. Let's go read some new books. So I love that we have writers and authors from all over the place. It's because of you we have flat earthers. No, really, we have them because they found each other and they're happy together. And we are happy together too. So like-minded people, they will hear what they want to hear and then they will go to where they resonate. And I like to be... who wants to live forever? Well, I like to be with the ones who are empowered, and again, the ones who wants to share that love frequency coexists with the fear frequency, because nobody is cocky in that sense of thinking that we know how the best way is done for anyone to heal their own stuff. They know the best way to heal their own self, and their body is leading them that way, and their brain, if they though don't have the capacity. So I know I use cowards and stupid a lot, but that's the part. The lovely Peter Levine, Stephen Porges, Bessel van der Kolk, Janina Fisher, anyone, Ruth, Beth Lanius, however the words are, their names, they make it very straightforward to why people suffer. I still will not support you with maladaptive patterns of behavior because, as Dr. Daniel Fox says, all it takes is your will and consistency and perseverance. So I won't be again, let me cast any stone, walk like an Egyptian. No, but I can tell you all, it breaks my heart that I know that the fear frequency people are all people who, in this lifetime, right now, if every single one of them decided that they would go to Pat Ogden, just Pat Ogden alone. I mean, she's one person though, but just to give you an example, they could be healed if they wanted it. Because it's your embodied brain and they don't believe in it. Oh, it's only one theory. There's many more. So again, you will pick and choose what you want to believe in versus hear the information and understand it. But also when you ask for shortcuts for personal development, no, for integration of brain, you didn't hear the explanation. And you're wanting a shortcut. You're objectifying a journey that actively is so deep and profound. But also please stop labeling yourself as if you're never going to get out of it. How hard it is, because that ain't gonna work. Now what are you doing? Do I need to pat you on the back because it's that so whenever you meet those who are damsels in distress, that's the feminine, who is man, woman don't matter. They want, and you know what I learned about the ambivalent? Yes, not the avoidant. No, the avoidant has categories, ambivalent categories and disorganized category. The styles are different. Category, the ambivalent, they will have only one way for them to be able to unlearn their unhealthy self-soothing mechanism. I'm not laughing because it's funny. It's because they don't do it. Actively, they will speak. You know what? Because other people have strength, it's their responsibility to be the ones to be always there for me. No, because I can't physically regulate your own nervous system consistently, because I won't be able to have 24 hours to only take care of one human being once you are a grown up who understands information. No, avoidance, that's a whole different story of how they treat themselves and the disorganized too. But the point is that those who are ambivalent, and or I think it's the anxious style, they can learn to self-soothe only if they actively take in the moment when they're being in the frequency of their own ventral energy and make use of it without the I take ownership of my nervous system, self-regulate. I won't. So I learned how to create a window welcome, the panic attacks. Was it happy? No. Did it frustrate me? It was no. My body doesn't frustrate me. It's something organic. Why would I shit on my body for something that comes up that has an explanation? Does it make you happy? No. Again, helplessness, nobody wants to be in it, but I know that I have a story. It's not happening. I can walk like an Egyptian. So you don't be like, let me create a number of dragging around the laundry. It's not laundry when you actively have understanding. That's for those of us who like to understand things, and then we can, through understanding, contemplate thoughts and emotions and not feel like somebody owes us something, because we don't actively think of emotions as something called I can't handle it. But that's why the window welcome, and that's why Robert's supposedly determined, and that's why, again, so people choose if it's a journey they want to go on or not. Here we do self-help, personal development, spiritual growth, and it's the restorative, embodied, self-aware, accountable, regulating person, because if you still need to get a window welcome, that's where therapists are doing the best of their job and how they can help us. So we'll be back with more. Thanks for stopping by.